We got a great guest.
Oh my gosh. Listen, I know I always say I'm excited about our guests, but I haven't cared about anybody until right now. None of those other people matter to me. Joining us next, guys, we've got a Hollywood legend whose life story could literally fill Jim like 6 different miniseries. I feel like she started out. I love the yin and the yang of this. Started out selling candy at Grauman's Chinese Theater, only to end up with her own star right outside that same box office that once fired her. Yes, she's danced with Fred Astaire. She's sparred with Sinatra. She's held her own in the Twilight Zone. And gosh, she even still found time to talk Khrushchev into letting her grandmother out of the Soviet Union. What I'm trying to say is this queen can hold her own in any room with any man, any woman, any dignitary, even some jerks, probably a lot of jerks along the way, and shake out her fist at them. She's now delighting audiences with her one-woman show called This Is Brilliant. Consider Your Ass Kissed, yes. And as chairman emeritus of the Thalians, she's presenting this year's Mr. Wonderful Award, which, by the way, this award has been awarded in the past to the likes of Frank Sinatra, Lucille Ball, Gene Kelly, Carol Burnett, and even Clint Eastwood. And now to none other than Neil Sedaka, the man behind the soundtrack that is about half of our collective memories, of course. So Ruta Lee joins us today to talk Hollywood, resilience, music. Definitely we're going to talk about magic because that is her true nature. Please make welcome to the show our new friend, Ruta Lee. Good morning, my friend.
Oh, good morning, good morning, good morning. And my dear child, both of you, would you please be kind enough to do my obituary when it comes? That was so gorgeous. And I'm closer to it than you realize, but oh my Lord, that was lovely. Thank you. How nice of you to share your fabulous audience with me. And I just think listening to you is such a joy because you get people to get up off their ass and do what they have to do, and I just love it.
Aw, what a pleasure. She just sounds like there's a difference between actors and icons. Just her voice is iconic. Don't you feel that?
I feel that way.
You're very kind.
I'm really not. We're not. We're not nice.
Can we do
just
this
like
every morning?
Yes.
We can.
You mentioned, of course, the Thalians, which I have to tell you was put together 70 years ago by a group of then young Hollywood people who got tired of being called hard-drinking, pot-smoking asses who had nothing to contribute to society. And they said, we hang around and sing and around the piano and dance and do and whatever. Why don't we put a show together, sell some tickets, and make some money for a charity? And that's exactly what they did. And they sent out Jane Mansfield and Mamie Van Dorn, 2 of the biggest bra sizes in the world, to find a good charity to give our money to. And they came back and said, well, all the good diseases have been taken. And they found a doctor who was dealing with emotionally disturbed children. And we started, that's how the Thalians were born. And Thalia, of course, was a Greek goddess, the goddess of comedy. But she also took care of the straying lambs. So it seemed like a very good combination. And we literally built the Thalians Community Mental Health Center, which was the first building that went in at the Cedars-Sinai complex in Los Angeles. And we did it all by honoring and building a show around a very, very big star, somebody that dazzled us with their performances on the screen, large or small or stage, but who also dazzled us with their philanthropic performances. And some 30 years later, when we finally were raising millions and millions of dollars for mental health, we were approached by someone who said, you're missing the boat, kids. You're taking care of everything from pediatric through geriatric cases in your hospital and doing the research, but you're missing the boat on helping our returning veterans. So we joined up with UCLA's Operation Mend, and OpMend heals the broken and fractured bodies of our returning veterans, and we Thalians worry about the broken and fractured mind and spirit of our returning veterans. Those beautiful young people that are so willing to put their lives on the line for us, no matter what hellhole in the world we send them to. And yet sometimes they come back and they're forgotten and they fall through the cracks and they're not taken care of. So the Thalians are doing something about that. And I thank everybody who has ever supported us. And so we're having this marvelous Christmas dinner dance honoring the fabulous Neil Sedaka, who is just a living legend. And I'm hoping that everybody will come to it. Of course, it will be at the Bel Air Country Club here in Los Angeles, which is very swazi and very nice and gorgeous. But I know that you're way back east from me, and if your listeners can't come join us, perhaps in the spirit of Christmas they will reach into their probably empty by now pocketbooks, but nevertheless, if you can find, whether it's $5 or $50 or $500,000, I will say to you the title of my book and the title of my show, Consider Your Darling Ass Kissed.
I want to talk about you a little bit here because, Lindsay did a marvelous job of kind of, I could say, kernelizing your career. But if you go through your bio, and this is really kind of, and by the way, I think it's beautiful that a group of actors would pick the goddess muse who actually inspires a smile to help heal people who are trying to mend what is going on inside their head, since so much of acting is about drawing on the imagination and drawing on empathy. But I just wanted to kind of point out here that you counted among your many friends, Milton Berle, Lucille Ball, George Burns, Gracie Allen, Tyrone Power, Debbie Reynolds, Roy Rogers, Marlene Dietrich, Andy Griffith, Audrey Hepburn, and every single member of those maniacs in Las Vegas, the Rat Pack. And I realize, of course, that you are such a witness and a participant in the golden age of television, that heady period between 55 and 65 when anything was possible and everybody was going from set to set, doing the remarkable words of Rod Serling, being on sets with people like Carl Freund and Desi Arnaz. I mean, you were not just a witness to history, you were a participant. And I was kind of curious, as you look back over this immense bio and resume of yours, if in fact, when you see the industry now, do you see similarities? I mean, there are people who say that we're in a second golden age of television. What does it look like, given the fact that you are 90 years young and maintain such a young spirit, to see what the industry has become? Do you still find it a generous place where people show up and give?
You put your finger right on the part that bothers me the most, and that is that yes, there are wonderful exceptions and that give enormously of their time, their talent, and their money in many cases. But I have been trying to replace myself and my beloved best friend Debbie Reynolds, who has gone to meet her maker. I have been trying to replace us in our work as either president or chairman of the board of the Thalians for some 20 years. And I simply cannot find people that are willing to take on the responsibility. And I swear, those of us who grew up in at least a little bit of the shadow of the people that were in vaudeville, that knew how hard it was to do 6 or 8 shows a day, every day, they were so willing to give back and give something to those who couldn't do for themselves. And I'm finding a very hard time finding people like that now. They're very willing to, send a check or something, but not to actually physically turn up and do any of the work that it takes to run an organization like this. I shouldn't say there isn't anybody. There are always people. But generally speaking, this generation of young people does not begin to have the empathy, the love for fellow man that previous generations had.
You know what I think too, and I'd be curious your take like I'm a songwriter here in Nashville, and I'm very aware when I go into rooms with people who are say more successful or more legendary, iconic than I, whatever, of being respectful of that. But not cowering or like dimming my light around it. I think there's a really good balance we have to find there. I think it's something, maybe to your point where you're talking about the youth, the kids, as they say these days, not to slam it, but they have a different kind of confidence, which was equal parts amazing and also like a little bit like, come on, you got to respect your elders and those that have come before you and worked so hard, because we've put our blood, sweat, and tears in. I think it's striking a balance. So my question to you with that in mind is, you've played opposite from everyone from Frank Sinatra to Tyrone Power. When you're toe to toe with icons like that, how do you keep your own spark from being overshadowed while still being present to know like that this is a really powerful position, if that makes sense?
It does make a lot of sense. And I think, frankly, I was blessed with being young and stupid, not knowing that this was, a meteor that I was working with. I also was blessed with a divine, wicked sense of humor, and found that no matter what hit the fan and who I was with, that I still found humor in everything that I ever did. And I think it's what got me through all that business of being chased around the desk by the so-called producer, or whoever. I kind of liked that period when I knew what was going on. And if I didn't know what was going on, perhaps I was too stupid to recognize it. And so therefore I laughed my way through it. And I think it's what kept me working forever. I worked all the time, which was kind of wonderful, whether it was television or whether I went out on stage or whether I was lucky enough to be in a movie that took time and had a little more money, with it. But I think that having a consciousness of a power that's a hell of a lot bigger than I am, that put me in this world to start with and aimed things for me, should be appreciated, recognized, saluted every day, and that kind of helps get you through everything that you have to do, too.
Yeah, I feel that.
We're talking with Miss Wonderful right now, Ruta Lee. I want to pivot to Mr. Wonderful because you guys actually, it's a long list of people who have done a lot for the industry. And we were talking about this last night. A friend of mine and I, Lindsay, went to a curated movie of a horror film called Frailty. But they were talking about the friendship between a filmmaker and an actor, and how the filmmaker actually stepped in and edited the actor's script so that he could actually produce the movie. And a lot of the people that are on the list that you guys, Ms. Ruta, that you guys actually have put on the the wonderful list. Can you talk a little bit about the decision-making process that goes into bestowing this honor? Because there really are a lot of the great and good, and we've talked about the idea that that's not always the same thing. Great and good people who occupy this list. Talk about your selection process.
Well, I don't really have a process. I am in the process.
Right.
I'm sort of being used and fortunately not abused, but used, yes, and I think that's what we're here for. And I find that those people that become really great are also really good. The ones that keep a light shining before, during, and after death are the ones that have brought some good to the world besides their talent and their smile. It's difficult. Actors are called upon constantly. When I say actors, I should say performers of every kind are called upon constantly to give away the only thing they have to sell, which is their talent and their time. And quite often, the people in the business are not given credit for what it took to make an appearance, to get your body and soul together, to come on stage and say hello. It sounds and looks so easy, but that's the whole point of being a good performer, is to make it look easy. Nothing in life comes easily, and if it does, I don't think it's appreciated as much as when you work for it. But I truly, with you, Jimmy, feel that there are wonderful people in our industry that sort of set the tone for how we should behave. And if generosity and giving of yourself in appreciation for what God has given us, or in appreciation for what a producer has done for you, the one hand washes the other, helps the other. We're given two hands in life, one to help ourselves, one to help the others. And I really live by that credo, and I guess we could put that on my tombstone, that and that I brought a smile to the face of every creature that I ever met in this life, be it two-legged or four-legged.
Well, you're bringing a smile to us all right now. You can go to Ruta Lee, RUTA Lee.com, as well as Thalians.org to find out more. Ruta, back to Neil Sedaka, as well as your legacy and your work. Neil kept performing for fans on social media during COVID, and you're still telling stories. You're still making people laugh, bringing smiles, spreading your light, which I think we live as long as we choose as far as creation goes. Our maker really chooses, but you know what I mean? We can, as the minute we stop creating, we stop existing and our own kind of legacy here. But what do you think it is that drives performers like you and Neil to keep giving when you could very easily just sit back and rest on the legend that you've
done
created?
enough, and yet you still do more? That's it.
Yeah. What makes you keep going?
I think it energizes me. I think when I'm tired and down, and Lord knows that happens much more quickly now at my age, I find that if I make an effort to do something that isn't for me but for somebody else, wow, that sort of lights sparks in me, and I think that it keeps me going beautifully. I have to tell you that I celebrated my 90th birthday recently, and by the way, Neil Sedaka was in the audience, and I made him get up out of his seat, come up on stage. Well, I made him. I asked him.
You're a badass. You could make him.
I made him.
Consider your ass kissed, Neil. Now get up here.
Yeah.
Sat at the piano and played a few tunes. Oh, it was just wonderful. But the point was that I thought, I can't face this birthday. I don't like birthdays anyway. I especially hate that song. And you're a songwriter, sweetheart. Write a damn birthday song that is a little better than that. Bam, 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 bam. Oh,
happy birthday to you. Yeah, you're right. We need some better options. You're right.
Anyway, I decided that the best way to face my 90th was to do a show. So I did my show, and I had some wonderful guest stars, and Jillian and Joanne Woodward, and everybody came. And we did it as a fundraiser for the Thalians and for our returning veterans. And what a lovely day and way to spend that day. I was exhausted when it was all over, but gosh, it was wonderful. And I thought, not only did it see me through my 90th birthday, but it raised so many dollars for so many people that really deserved our help, So it's simple enough. You don't have to necessarily get out there and paint the walls of the church or something. What you need to do is bring a smile to somebody's face, whether it's hello to someone on the elevator or whether it's commenting on how cute someone's hairdo is, whatever. You can be charitable in the most simple, God-given way.
I want to go back in time here because I'm gonna give away a little secret. I'm actually a fan, and when I did the math, I am a massive fan of the Twilight Zone. And
Yeah.
you are in one of my favorite ones that actually there are three kinds of Twilight Zone. One that actually warms your heart in a nostalgic way. The second is the kind that scares the hell out of you, and the third is the kind that makes you laugh in that sort of O. Henry way. And you are in one of the great O. Henry Twilight Zones of all time. I mean, essentially, it's a fountain of youth story. And I was just kind of curious, given the quality of the two actors you're working against, and the fact that Rod Serling wrote that script. I just wanted to, if you could just and by the way, this is me just simply fanning out with you, Miss Ruta. That's all. I won't even lie. It's called a short drink from a certain fountain is the name of the episode. Lindsay, could you talk about your experience because there's only really three characters in that piece, and you were at the center of it. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
I loved her. I mean, I'm sorry that this is the case. Bad girls are always more fun to play than good girls.
Yes.
And she really was a bit of a tramp, you know, and I loved playing her. It was a great role for me. And by the way, Rod Serling and I used to have dinner together on occasion. I really liked him a lot. And I mean, he was the kind of guy that I would have latched onto, except that, and it's what killed him. He smoked and smoked and smoked and smoked. One cigarette wouldn't be out before the other was lit. And so that didn't work. And I'm sorry that he did it to himself because he was a brilliant talent. And what a lovely role he wrote, and I got to play, and it was such fun. I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but to think that this little bit of a tramp would tease her much older husband that she married for his money, clearly, and wouldn't get the money unless she wound up taking care of a baby. It was not her favorite thing in the world to do.
It is, Lindsay, it is such a delight to watch that episode because it is three actors who play everything straight, and at the same time, it's utterly hysterical at the same time. It is great because there isn't a single wink in the whole thing until the end, that typical Serling wink that happens. If you guys haven't checked out A Short Drink from a Certain Fountain, you will see three brilliant performances, one of which we are talking to this morning, in Miss Ruta Lee, who joins us here on Road Gang Radio.
Oh, Jimmy, thank you so much.
Well, and wait, with that character, that sounds like the tramp character that you loved playing, which makes me respect you even more than I did before, girl, because I need to send you my song called Trainwreck, which is, autobiographical.
Oh, yeah, it relates, Lindsay. It relates to this episode.
Right?
It really does.
But,
well,
Ruta...
I hope that everybody will think about picking up my book, which is also called Consider Your Ass Kissed, simply because it has so many nifty little stories about almost everybody I ever knew in Hollywood. And Lord knows I was privileged, as you well put, to have worked with the best in the business and to have made friends of them. And I comment on everybody somewhere down the long line. And I'm not mean-spirited in the book at all, you know. It's a tell-all book, but it tells a lot of interesting and good stuff that perhaps we didn't know about a lot of people. So if you have an opportunity, go to Amazon.com. Like, they need our dollars any more than
they're doing okay.
A protection racket disguised as a bookstore. I understand.
Consider Your Ass Kissed, both a one-woman show and a book. We just have about 1 minute left, but with that, so you've played Peter Pan, Dolly, of course, the character we're just talking about. If you had to pick one of your characters to be stuck as forever, which role feels closest to the real you?
I think I'd have to say the unsinkable Molly Brown.
I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
I knew it was coming. It's one of the most definitive performances of Molly Brown ever.
Never say die. Just keep going no matter what hits the fan. And that's kind of the way I am. I don't give in easily. And I learned, as when you mentioned that I called Khrushchev to get my grandmother out of Siberia and out of the Soviet Union. never take no for an answer. I mean, you can slide around it somehow, let somebody think that they told you no, but that you've got to find another way to get it done, and especially when it comes to helping other people. When you're helping yourself, it's one thing, but when you need to help other people, and I was afraid that people would start crossing the street when they saw me coming because I'd hit on them for money for the Thalians. But it may have earned me a couple of people saying, "Oh hell, I don't want to talk to her about money," but it also earned me a lot of respect, and I thank God for that. So, listen, people, thank you for giving me the time to share with your audience. How wonderful. Please remind everybody about the Thalians. It's THALIANS for anybody, .org, not .com, but .org, to get any information. And listen, when y'all come out from the middle of the country where you are and come out to California, you've got my number. Come on over. I'll buy you a drink.
Oh, my God. Can I have a drink with you in L.A.? That sounds like the best day ever.
And how.
Full disclosure.
I would love it. I would absolutely love it. It's been such a pleasure chatting with you. And thank you for your time. Thank you for your energy. And thank you for the love you spread.
Thank you so much, by the way.
Likewise.
That's Miss Ruta Lee, by the way. And you guys
I can't stop smiling. I have like the biggest smile just
course.
talking to her the entire time.
Of course you should. RutaLee.com. It's spelled just like it sounds, RutaLee.com. You can also go to Thalians.org. By the way, there's a street in New Orleans, Lindsay. There's a street named after every muse, and there is a street called Thalia. So, now you get why when I saw that, I went, that's a great idea for an organization. Hit that music, would you?